All right, today we're going to go on a bit of a journey. It starts in a place that's probably really familiar to you, a quiet corner of a library, and it's going to end right in the middle of this super high-stakes global race for artificial intelligence. So let's follow that path from the printed page to the computer processor.
I mean, it's a memory so many of us have, right? That feeling of just stacking up a pile of books, knowing you had all these new worlds to dive into. It was this simple personal thing, just you and your imagination. But believe it or not, that very simple act is now smack dab in the middle of a huge debate about technology, about ethics, about, well, everything.
And that really gets us to the big question here. If an AI can summarize a 500-page book in like 2 seconds, what's the point of spending hours and hours reading it yourself? Are we just gaining some efficiency but losing something way more important in the process?
Okay, so to even start to answer that, we've got to look at how this tech is changing our own personal relationship with knowledge itself.
You can really think of it as a tale of two different readers. On one side, you've got deep reading. You're immersing yourself in a story, getting lost in it, letting your imagination just run wild. And on the other side, you've got fast learning, using AI to just grab the key takeaways, the data, the summary instantly. One's about the journey, the other is all about the destination.
And this is really the core of the argument for, old school reading. It's not just about downloading facts into your brain. It's about creating this mental space where your own new, original ideas can actually take shape. You just don't get that from a bullet point list.
But of course, there's another side to this. The big worry is that we're all getting a little too comfortable letting AI do all the heavy lifting for us. We've basically outsourced the hard work of thinking deeply. And you know what they say about a muscle you don't use, right? It starts to get weaker.
So this leads to a pretty uncomfortable question. As the AI does more and more of our thinking, are we, becoming dumber? It's a provocative thought for sure, especially as we zoom out from just us as individuals to the entire industry.
Because look, this is way bigger than just how you or I read a novel. The fact that AI can read and process just unbelievable amounts of text has kicked off this huge legal and financial war over the data that makes it all work. So at the heart of all this are these large language models. They get trained on these mind-bogglingly huge data sets. But here's the kicker. Where did all that data, all those books, all those articles they read, actually come from? That is what the entire fight is about.
And when I say this is a fight, I am talking about billions with a B of dollars on the line. Just look at this number, $1.3 billion. And that's the price tag for just one major settlement in this growing war over AI and who owns what.
So where does that number come from? It's from a huge case with the AI company Anthropic. A bunch of authors basically said, hey, you guys scraped our books to train your AI, and you probably used pirated copies to do it. Well, Anthropic ended up settling, and that settlement, it sets a massive precedent. It's basically saying, nope, you can't just take people's copyrighted work for free anymore.
And this is where a lot of people see this massive double standard, right? There's this feeling that if you're a giant tech company, you can just scrape up all this data, no problem. But if you or I tried to download all those same books, we'd be in big trouble. It really feels like there are two sets of rules.
And that quote really nails where we are right now. It is like the Wild West for data, a total free-for-all. Companies are just grabbing everything they can get their hands on before the law really catches up. But the writing's on the wall. This free ride is not going to last. Pretty soon, getting access to the data that fuels AI is going to cost a whole lot more.
And this isn't just a fight between a few companies. Oh no, it's gotten way bigger. This whole thing is now playing out on the global stage. We're talking about a brand new kind of race between countries for AI dominance.
For what feels like forever, when you talked about AI, you were really just talking about two big players, the US and China. But the game is changing. We've got new contenders stepping into the ring, like the United Arab Emirates, and they are not messing around. They're building their own seriously powerful AI models.
And a perfect example of this is a model called K2. It's coming out of Abu Dhabi, and it's performing right up there with the stuff coming from OpenAI. And this is not some small side project. This is a massive national push to build their own AI power so they don't have to rely on anyone else's tech.
So why should you care about this? Well, it's actually really good news. More competition is a great thing. It forces everyone to get better, to innovate faster. It stops one or two companies or countries from controlling everything. And hopefully, it helps us avoid those old-school tech monopolies. Like back in the day with IBM.
Which brings us all the way back to where we started. Remember?
That simple act of reading a book, one person sharing their world with another. But now, AI is reading all of our books. It's learning from literally everything we've ever created as a species. So the huge question we're left with is, as this AI learns from our entire past, who gets to write our future?